Season 5, Vinyl Happy Hour. I forgot what episode, I think 9 or something like that. There's been lots of good things going on, so it's hard to keep track of everything in the record world, especially in the record store after Record Store Day, all these releases coming in and some things getting reissued and back into stock. So we're going to have a short episode and just talk about a few of my favorite releases for the week and some of the special indie store exclusives that you can find at your local record store, just like Culture Shock Clothing and Records here in Rockford, Illinois. Welcome to our show. I'm Skylar Davis, owner of Culture Shock and also of CultureShockShop.com, where you can find the records we're talking about here tonight on our little breakdown and discussion of Vinyl Happy Hour. Every week we like to bring you a few of the choice releases, or just kind of give you a little more insight and little details about some stuff that's getting released. Let's start right now with just, I had another one to start the top of the show with, but I actually decided to go with this. This actually did come out last year technically, but it's first time on vinyl for SeeYouSpaceCowboy. A wild, wild band name for a wild, wild album too. It's a ride. The Romance of Affliction. Pure Noise release. This is an indie store exclusive special color vinyl. You see they kind of did, they're calling this beer in bone and orange or something like that. So of course anything that's slightly beer colored, they're just calling it beer and bone. So it sounds epic, just like the band name. This band is all over the place though. This is a hardcore band at its roots, but so much more than that. A younger band, but they have been around a few years, already have a couple albums out. This is definitely going to fall under a million different categories though, because although it's like metalcore, it's got the screamiest screams and the heaviest breakdowns, which I love. There's a lot of emo influences though, and some clean singing mixed with layered screaming and stuff like that. A couple like these little ambient parts that just kind of trickle in and give me a little, I mean, God, elements of Deftones and Dillinger Escape Plan, but then you get some of the emo stuff thrown in there, and then the hardcore, 2000s hardcore, I should say, is what it really throws back to. So bands like It Dies Today and Norma Jean, even stuff like that, that I was a big fan of. It's so cool to hear that sound coming out again with some of these bands. They seem like a really kind of interesting band too. The singer, whose name is Connie, kind of has more of like that higher pitched scream, stuff like that, and there's a lot of the guttural just mixed in blah stuff too. Double guitar attack, just sick rhythmic drums. I mean, there's some great breakdowns. The way that this band elevates that stretching out a song to just give you so many cool elements and different, textures in each song. It's very creative. Again, a lot of those 2000s bands that I really enjoyed. The artwork, it's kind of, there was an alternate album artwork actually for the band. So this is the primary release, and there's an insert with the lyrics and stuff like that too. So you don't get a lot for the packaging. Like I said, this is the color vinyl release. So that's the primary thing, and yeah, they are calling it Beer with Bone and Orange Twist. Oh, very low, only 300 copies. I didn't realize it was that limited to get this color. So what we'll do is we'll have the link here in the video too if you want to pick this up for shipping, or if you're local and get an in-store pickup here in the Northern Illinois area. We only have a few copies listed on our site. We're keeping some for in-store only, but get to the site right away if you can. We like to update that in our staff picks. But that album, that just really spoke to me. I was going to talk about Sharon Van Etten first, and I'm still going to get right to her, but wow, that album, and like I said, it came out a few months ago, so streaming it and stuff, listening in your car, whatever, just doesn't do it justice. I think that that's the way to have it, is to own it and put it down on your record player and just really get into the groove. So, hey, let's talk about Sharon Van Etten, though. Another one of my favorite artists, completely in a different element and different soundscape, though. This is really nice packaging on her new album. We've been going about this all wrong. Nice thick gatefold, very kind of papery and kind of textured feeling. And this is an indie store exclusive as well. So you can see it's on, they're calling it like a smoke clear vinyl. So you can see through that a little, hopefully not tons of glare. And it's her 6th album. So she's been around for quite a while. Obviously, I should mention, go see live music when you can. I know she's touring for the album. I got to see her a few years ago. Great live show, just a great indie rock artist. Her albums have been gradually getting away from a little less guitar stuff into a little more electronic and just different feels. And this album's really good. I will say, and this is a good thing, I love dark albums. I love sad albums. This album is a little darker. It's a little more austere like that, and it honestly gives me some of the vibes of even Kate Bush or Radiohead and stuff like that. Something a little more mellow and chilled down. And let's put ourselves in her place too. I guess, you know, kind of knowing more about her, I've known her for quite a few years and known her albums, and she moved to LA right when the pandemic had begun. She uprooted her adult life and touring life from New York and had some time to think, to incubate this new album. And you can tell, like I said, it's, you know, just even with what's going on this week in the world, you know, it's kind of fitting to hear this. So Sharon Van Etten, we've been going about this all wrong. And this is the indie store exclusive Smoke vinyl on Jaguar album, or records, I should say. So super good. Like I said, there's so many good songs on here. I mean, God, I've been really enjoying Mistakes and Darkness Fades and stuff like that. So definitely check it out. It's a brand new album. It's coming out digitally and vinyl tomorrow. So all these releases come out on. Oh yeah, I should also mention, I like the little detail. I'm not a flower expert or whatever, but whatever this little floral is here, because you can't tell what's side A and side B. So there's one flower for side 1 and 2 for side 2. I thought that was a cool little detail. There is a printed inner sleeve. Let's go ahead and show that off with all the lyrics on it too. Black and white photo of her on this side. Oh yeah, just great job packaging, and it's kind of purple on the inside of the jacket instead of just being plain black or white. Most are white, of course. But those are some new releases I kind of wanted to head out with. Usually I do like 5 releases. I'm going to kind of throw a couple extra in just to mention some indie store exclusive. This is an interesting piece because this was actually supposed to come out on Record Store Day a couple weeks ago in April. And maybe it did. I'm not sure what happened, but a few things. There was like over a couple hundred releases dropping all at once. This one got delayed to us somehow, so we just got this in. If you were here on Record Store Day and missed it, we have it available now. There's been a lot of tight deadlines, a lot of pressing plants have been behind. So the best way to keep up with what's coming in, by the way, is of course to be subscribed to our channel to find out our vinyl happy hour videos, and follow us on social media on Instagram and Facebook. We'll put little updates every week about what new things are coming in. This album though, We Insist. This is the Freedom Now suite from Max Roach and Oscar Brown, and there is Coleman Hawkins and Abby Lincoln doing vocals. So it's a different jazz album. This is kind of, you know, talking about people going through pain and suffering and other things like that. This came out in 1960, obviously one of the most, you know, times of upheaval in the country. And there's some pain on this album. This is a jazz album, and a great jazz album at that. But especially, you know, Max Roach and Coleman Hawkins and Abby Lincoln are just really putting their all into this. This does leave that post-bop era and hit some kind of more of the Afro feel and kind of African feel, you know, music. And there were some vocals that just kind of scream, and there are some parts where the music gets very heavy. I could imagine, especially in 1960, this is one of the heaviest things that was probably getting released then. Most jazz was kind of doing that kind of, you know, that bebop, you know, New York kind of feel. This album gets kind of all over. And on the B side, especially, the first track is called All Africa, and that has a very tribal, rhythmic kind of breakdown going on for like almost 8 minutes. And then also Tears for Johannesburg, very kind of somber piece. So this is a great jazz piece, but it also speaks to that time of American history. Also, you see this on clear vinyl. This is like an indie store exclusive since it came out for Record Store Day. Even though we did get it in a little late. Nice thick vinyl, great sounding piece. Definitely different from compared to some of the other stuff they were doing. Abby Lincoln's usually known for her really soft and mellow vocals. So this one, although she does have some great vocals on some of it just gets very out there. And like I said, there's I'm gonna be bad at pronouncing this name, but there's some tracks with Olatunji, you know, who had more like the African congos and stuff like that going on it. So it's not your typical jazz piece or like an audiophile piece. But it's an essential piece of jazz history, I think, too. So I want to mention that. This one is also very heavy, but in many different ways. So I was talking about SeeYouSpaceCowboy, how they kind of go all over. They have the really low, heavy parts, and then the kind of higher pitch and screams and stuff like that, and more emo. This is the Acacia strain, the Deadwalk. This is nothing but the heavy, heavy, low, low stuff. Just really low screams, heavy, down-tuned guitars, you know, crushing, thundering drums. I had missed out on this, though. A few years ago, it actually did get reissued for Record Store Day. I think this goes all the way back to 05 or something, probably, when it originally came out. But they reissued it on Record Store Day, and we sold out of them. I missed out on it. Well, if you have patience as a record collector, which is kind of hard to do sometimes, if you wait, it may get reissued again or a different variant of it. So they finally have reissued the clear version. This is the indie store exclusive. of the Deadwalk from Acacia stream. So just wanted to point that out. You know, it's like one of those things where if you miss out on something and have patience, maybe it'll come back around. But yeah, that's a great album. It's got, you know, mention of that. Some very scary artwork on there for a very scary, heavy album, but sometimes that's what I like. So let's talk about Daft Punk Homework. What a great album. Wow. Nice thick vinyl. This is just a regular release. It is not on color vinyl or anything like that. But the packaging, this has been reissued on this really nice, very glossy, probably hard to see, but around the Daft Punk, it is almost like embroidered. It's like raised lettering. Really cool how they have that printed on there like that. Two, you know, both LPs have printed inner sleeves for them. And just nice quality sound, of course, which is important. But these have been out of stock for quite a while. So they just reissued Homework. There's some live ones coming up too soon. So if you pre-ordered those will be going out right now or be available for in-store pickup. But this is a band where, especially since they announced their breakup, you know, these two French like electro DJs who've been making this kind of like beat heavy, house heavy, you know, funk sampled music for 20-something years, have kind of retired. And like between that and the pandemic, like a lot of records just sold out. So this was very hard to get a hold of. Luckily, they did just reissue it, and we were able to score some copies. So that's the other thing about record collecting is you have to get it when it's available. So check the site now if you want to get those ordered. CultureShockShop.com is in the link. There are so many releases, though. We just want to hit a few of them each week and let you know. Arcade Fire, I love the artwork. This is an indie store exclusive. Shoot, I forgot what color it is actually offhand, and it doesn't say on the outside. But I just was wanting to show off the packaging, how it's got the cool eyeball with a little bit of foil print. And the stickering and the borders are like this gold foil print. It's just very attractive looking. Arcade Fire has eluded me a few times in the past because their music grows on me a year or 2 years after their releases come out sometimes. But I really enjoy Arcade Fire. That's their new release. And then Hailstorm, Back from the Dead. Hailstorm is just a heavy rock and metal band. They've played a lot of tours, a lot of shows. They've even played around here in Rockford. But the new Hailstorm, Back from the Dead, this is the indie store exclusive Translucence Ruby Red Vinyl. So it's a translucent red vinyl gatefold. Just a great heavy band, and they bring the heavy guitar. Of course, her vocals are just over the top. Just a great performer, a great energy. And then there's some, this is a reissue now. Those are some new releases. But the Justin Townes Earl, this is Single Mothers and Absent Fathers. So it's like a double LP package. Vagrant Records has been doing, since their 25th anniversary happened, reissuing some of their most renowned albums on silver vinyl. They did, you know, Paramore, Panic at the Disco, just a whole score of other things. And it's kind of funny, you forget sometimes that Justin Townes Earl was on that label. Rest in peace, this guy died at way too young, unfortunately. But you think about them for more of their emo and pop punk music. But this is kind of more of that alt country, just indie rock kind of sound. But I love the packaging. It's a double LP on silver vinyl. You get both albums in one package. That's been out of print for quite a while as well. So I'm going to enjoy some mezcal and enjoy the rest of my day and enjoy some records and get the website updated. You guys, please keep supporting your independent record stores wherever you are and support our channel, please. So the Culture Shock Clothing and Records Vinyl Happy Hour every week will be featuring new releases. And we hope to see some orders from you soon, too. Cheers.